Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to start the opening ceremony in a few moments. Kindly turn on your camera and switch off the microphone during this session. Thank you. The Honorable Director of Simeo Secretariat, Datuk Dr. Habibah Abdul Rahim, the Honorable Director for Elementary Education Teachers at the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, Dr. Andes Rahmadi Widiharto, MA, the Honorable Keynote Speakers for today's webinar, Ms. Evie Tang from Sichuan Vocational College of Information Technology, and Mr. Patrick Loje from Altisia, Indonesia. Distinguished Directors of Simeo Centers in Indonesia, Director of Simeo Kitab in Science, Dr. Indrawati, MPD, Director of Simeo Kitab in Mathematics, Dr. Sumardio, Distinguished Dean of Faculty of Language and Literature Education in Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, Profesor Dr. Tri Indri Hardini, MPD. Distinguished Head of Balai Guru Penggerak in East Kalimantan, Ms. Wiwik Setiawati. Distinguished Heads of the Association of Foreign Languages, President of Teaching of English as a Foreign Language in Indonesia, Taflin Association, Profesor Utami Widiati, MA, PhD. Board of Director of Simeo Kitab in Language, Acting Director, Ardian Diaan Muniroh, PhD, Deputy Director for Program, Ms. Esra Nelvi M. Siagian, MMMED, Deputy Director for Administration, Dr. Misbah Fikrianto, MMMSI. Distinguished representative and guests from Balai Besar Guru Penggerak, BBGP, Balai Guru Penggerak, BGP, Musyawarah Guru Mata Pelajaran, MGMP of English, German, and French language in Indonesia. And last but not least, all participants, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning and welcome to the opening ceremony of the webinar, Developing Student Success Through Technology-Assisted Foreign Language Learning. My name is Yuriska, the Master of Ceremony for today's event. First of all, let me inform you the agenda of the opening ceremony. First, presentation of the National Anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya, followed by Simeo Colors and Simeo Song Building the Future. Second, delivery of activity report by Acting Director of Simeo Kitab in Language, Ardian Diaan Muniroh, PhD. Third, presentation of welcoming remarks video from Director of Simeo Secretariat, Datuk Dr. Habibah Abdul Rahim. Fourth, opening remarks from the Director for Elementary Education Teachers, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, Dr. Andes Rahmadi Widiharto, MA. Lastly, group photo sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, to start our agenda, we will see the presentation of the National Anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya, followed by Simeo Colors and Simeo Song.
Di sana aku berdiri, It's time to open our eyes to a bright and promising future. We'll rise to the call of the times and create a stronger tomorrow. Let's start to make a difference, teaching everyone to learn through science, health, and technology. We will share our expertise by promoting knowledge and policies. We can build a better world. Let us take a stand for our visions alone, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and clean. Here at SEAQIL, building the future is our legacy. We'll achieve our goals through partnership, creating opportunities. By working hand in hand, we can accomplish all our dreams. For a better quality of life is now within our reach. Let us take a stand for our visions of hope, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness
Now, we would like to invite the acting director of Simeo Kitab and Language, Dian Muniro, PhD, to deliver the activity report. To Ibu Dian, the time is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Yuriska. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished Director of Simeo Secretariat, Datuk Dr. Habibah Abdul Rahim, Director for Elementary Education Teachers at the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, Dr. Rahmadi Widarto, MA, keynote speakers, Ms. Effie Tang from Sichuan Vocational College of Information Technology, Mr. Patrick Lauge and Mega Hermawan from Altisia, Indonesia, Board of Directors or representatives of Simeo Centers in Indonesia, representatives of partner institutions and universities, head of Balai Besar Guru Penggerak and Balai Guru Penggerak or the representative, head of Education Office, Teacher Association and MGMP or the representative, SEAQIL staff and the webinar committee, moderator and participants of this webinar, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon you. Good morning to you all. To begin, let's praise and express our gratitude to the God Almighty for His blessings and this opportunity to gather virtually for the opening ceremony of the webinar on developing student success through technology-assisted foreign language learning. I'm delighted and privileged to extend my warm greetings and welcome you to this webinar. This is the second year we are holding the webinar to introduce the success and provide insights into their implementation in the classroom. The success refer to a set of global competencies that are seen as essentials for individuals to have in order to succeed in a global society. It includes communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, character, and citizenship. In the era of information and communication technology, the success as global competencies become even more essential. With the rapid advancement in technology, individuals are more connected than ever before, allowing for greater global interaction and collaboration. Technology-assisted foreign language learning can provide a powerful platform for developing student success, helping them to succeed in an interconnected and rapidly changing world. By integrating technology into foreign language learning, educators can create engaging and dynamic learning experiences that foster the development of essential skills and competencies. Invited guests, speakers, ladies and gentlemen. In this webinar, we'll be exploring the intersection of technology and foreign language learning and discussing how we can use technology to develop our students' success. We have fantastic speakers who will be sharing their expertise and experiences. Ms. Effie Tang from Sichuan Vocational College of Information Technology will present exploring foreign language teaching strategies to foster student success. Mr. Patrick Lauge from Altisia, Indonesia will talk about maximizing the use of technology to foster the development of student success in foreign language classrooms. I am confident that you'll find their insights and strategies both informative and inspiring. Invited guests, speakers, ladies and gentlemen. The webinar marks the start of the 3-month online training for improving language competence from 10th of April, that's today, to 10th of July 2023. We invite 1,451 registrants of online training as the webinar participants. Among the registrants, 1,130 of them are language teachers, and the remaining 321 are education personnel. They come from Southeast Asian countries, namely Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Laos PDR, Malaysia, Myanmar, Thailand, the Philippines, Timor-Leste, and Vietnam. I'm pleased to inform you that 400 language teachers and education personnel in Southeast Asia, from a total of 1,451 applicants, were selected to be the participants of the online training. They are language teachers in elementary school, junior high school, senior high school, vocational high school, university, language course, and private tutors. While for education personnel, they range from categories of administration staff, headmasters, instructional designer, laboratory staff, training analyst, to coordinators of research center. During the 3-month online training, they will learn how to improve their language competence in English, French, German, Portuguese, or Spanish using the online self-regulated language learning platform named Alticia. Thank you to all of those who have shown interest in our webinar and training program. My hope is that you make the most out of this opportunity and fully engage in the program. I'm confident that the outcome will be highly motivating and rewarding. Invited guest speakers, ladies and gentlemen, SEAQIL in Language is committed to improving the skills and expertise of language teachers and other education professionals in Southeast Asia. So I encourage all participants to collaborate with us towards our goal of raising the level of language education in the region. Finally, I would like to extend an invitation to Dr. Habibah Abdul Rahim, the Director of SEAQIL Secretariat, to deliver a welcoming remark. I would also like to invite Dr. Rahmadi Widarto MA, the Director for Elementary Education Teachers at the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, to deliver the opening remark and officially open the webinar on developing student success through technology-assisted foreign language learning. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Ibu Dian. Next, since Datuk Dr. Habibah Abdul Rahim cannot be with us today, she will be delivered the welcoming remarks with the following video.
Greetings to everyone attending the opening ceremony of the webinar on developing student success through technology-assisted foreign language learning. This webinar is part of the 3-month training on online competency improvement. It is my great pleasure to be part of this very relevant and timely initiative that promotes competency of teachers in language teaching and learning with the use of technology. Congratulations to SEAQIL in Language officials and staff led by Acting Director Dr. Muniron for making this teacher professional development program possible. Your hard work, dedication and perseverance are admirable and exemplify the core values of SEAQIL. I wish to thank all our partners and experts who have committed themselves to helping us in this webinar. Their contributions are definitely valuable. This partnership will go a long way in improving the quality of education in Southeast Asia and in changing the lives of our peoples. SEAQIL is committed to this mission and together with the centers and partners will always seek ways to serve the region towards the fulfillment of our common aspiration for a better life and brighter future for everyone. This initiative comes at a time when the world is experiencing dramatic changes facilitated by rapid developments in digital technology. To be able to thrive in this new world, We need to be agile and develop the ability to learn and innovate even as we continue to find ways to provide solutions to emerging challenges. The updated 2020 World Economic Forum Jobs Report indicates that with the double disruption of COVID-19 pandemic and increased automation, new and different skills and competencies are required of our human capital. The competencies covered in this webinar, namely communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, and character, are included in the list. I would consider citizenship, while not in the list, as an important 21st century skill in a highly globalized world where issues and concerns like climatic change and its associated phenomena are shared amongst peoples and nations. It is incumbent in any education system to ensure that these skills are developed among the learners, or else they will find themselves losing out in a highly competitive world of work. In order to maximize the impact of the education process, new educational technologies can provide better pedagogical support, but we need our teachers to be adept at these technologies. Our teachers who are at the forefront of molding our learners will need more than just content and pedagogical knowledge. At this age and time, they need to be in step with the developments in technology. Playing catching up may not be enough. Our 21st century learners are quite quick in the uptake of technology. Thus, we need teachers who themselves are learners and are equipped with the 6Cs. This webinar will try to tap into the power of technology in effectively teaching a foreign language and in developing 21st century skills, namely communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, character, and citizenship. We look forward to a meaningful engagement of participants in this webinar. We will be happy to hear from you about how you are changing the education system in your respective schools and countries. Thank you and enjoy your day in this webinar.
Thank you very much to Datuk Dr. Habibah. We hope we can meet at another event. Lastly, representing the Director General of Teachers and Education Personnel, may we welcome the Honorable Director for Elementary Education Teachers, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, Dr. Andes Rahmadi Widiharto, MA, to deliver remarks and officially open the webinar. To Bapak Rahmadi Widiharto, the time is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Yuliska. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Every good morning to you all. Honorable Datuk Dr. Habib, the Director of SEAQIL Secretariat, Acting Director of SEAQIL Kitab in Language, Ms. R. Dian Muniro, PhD, invited guest speakers and participants of this webinar, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to virtually welcome and greet all of you to the opening ceremony of SEAQIL Kitab in Languages online training on language competence improvement 2023, which begins with a webinar titled Developing Student Success Through Technology-Assisted Foreign Language Learning. The webinar emphasizes the role of technology-supported foreign language learning in fostering the development of student success, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, creativity, character, and citizenship. Foreign language learning has proven to be an effective means of cultivating these skills, as it enables students to interact with diverse culture and perspective, communicate proficiently with individuals from varied background and foster empathy and a global outlook. Furthermore, technology provided innovative and novel ways to support language learning with the ultimate goal of enhancing student opportunities and preparing them for success in the 21st century. Ladies and gentlemen, the Indonesian National Medium-Term Development Plan 2020-2024 places priority in developing a qualified and competitive human resources base in alignment with the education development policy. The approach includes measures such as improving teachers' professionalism and competence along with other strategies. The Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia has introduced a specific program called Guru Penggerak, or mobilizing teachers, under the Directorate General of Teacher and Education. The goal of this program is to improve the quality of education in Indonesia by identifying and selecting outstanding teachers to become teacher mobilizers. These teacher mobilizers then provide mentoring and training to other teachers and surroundings area with a focus on improving teaching practice, curriculum development, and student learning outcomes. The program also includes measures that provide incentives and recognition for the teacher mobilizer, encouraging their continued professional development. In a broader scope, as a member of SEAQIL, Indonesia is a key player in improving the quality of education through Southeast Asia. Indonesia actively participates in supporting SEAQIL missions to foster collaboration among its member and associate member countries through its regional center projects. The center and project offer professional leadership in areas like training, research and development, and information disseminations. This initiative aims to help member countries develop their expertise and excellence in education, science, and culture, with the ultimate goal of promoting the growth of an enlightened and productive citizen in their respective countries, leading to be a better quality of life for all people in the region. Through online training on language competence improvement initiative, SEAQIL in language is supporting the Indonesian government's effort to enhance the competence and professionalism of teacher and education personnel in line with both Indonesian education policies and SEAQIL's 7 priority areas. This program strengthens the role of MOECRT in achieving SEAQIL's 5th priority of revitalizing teacher education and 7th priority of adopting 21st century curriculum, with a focus on developing high-quality language teachers and education personnel across SEAQIL members countries who are able to design effective teaching and learning practice that facilitate the development of 21st century skill in students. Moreover, the participation of teachers and education personnel from all SEAQIL members countries will help ensure educational equity throughout the regions. As I conclude my speech, I would like to express my gratitude to Dato Dr. Habibah Abdul Rahim from SEAQIL Secretariat and all the webinar speakers for their valuable time and offering support in making this webinar a success. I also want to extend my appreciation to SEAQIL in language for organizing this event, which is a significant effort toward promoting Indonesia's role in SEAQIL member countries. By invoking the word Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I hereby commence the seminar Kitab in Language Online Training on Language Competency Improvement 2033 and the webinar Developing Students Success Through Technology Assist Foreign Language Learning. Finally, I express my gratitude to all the participants, particularly the outstanding language teachers and education personnel from SEAQIL members country. I appreciate your active participation and hope that you will benefit greatly from this online training and webinar. Thank you for your kind attention, and I wish you a productive and successful learning experience. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bapak Rahmadi Widiharto. Ladies and gentlemen, we have here with us today Dr. Zainur Misbah, Acting Director of SEAQIL Rekfon, and Dr. Vina Adriani, Director of SEAQIL CSAT. Thank you for joining with us, Bapak Ibu. Ladies and gentlemen, before continuing to our next agenda, we will do group photo session. We will take the photo 3 times. May we kindly ask the Board of Directors of SEAQIL Kitab in Language, distinguished research persons and guests to turn on the camera and please be ready. For the first photo session, may we invite Dr. Andes Rahmadi Widiharto, Director for Elementary Education Teachers at the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, Ardian Diaan Muniro, PhD, Acting Director of SEAQIL Kitab in Language, Ms. Esra Nelvi M. Siagian, Deputy Director for Program of SEAQIL Kitab in Language, Dr. Misbah Fikrianto, Deputy Director for Administration of SEAQIL Kitab in Language, Ati Sumiati M. Hum, the moderator for today's webinar, and our keynote speaker, Ms. Evitang Miorong, Mr. Patrick Loge, and also Mr. Mega Herman. Okay, let me count. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much. Next, may we invite all distinguished guests for the second and third photo session. Okay, let me count. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the opening session of the webinar Developing Student Success Through Technology-Assisted Foreign Language Learning. Before we start to the main agenda for today, with all due respect, we would like to inform that the distinguished guests are welcome to stay in the meeting room, or if you have other agenda, you may leave the room. And please kindly fill in the attendance form shared by the committee in the chat box before you leave. Thank you very much for your kind attention and participation. Ladies and gentlemen, to start the webinar, I would like to introduce our moderator for today, Ms. Ati Sumiati M. Ho. She is currently a lecturer in English at Literature Study Program, Faculty of Languages and Arts, Universitas Negeri Jakarta. She is also a freelance translator and a head of quality control of Faculty of Languages and Arts, Universitas Negeri Jakarta. Since 2013 until 2020, she has published several academic research in the field of translation science. Moreover, she has taught many courses such as subtitling, interpreting, public speaking, comparative linguistics, and so on. So without any further ado, may we welcome Ms. Ati Sumiati.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Yuriska, as the MC for such a very lovely introductions. Thank you, Ms. Yuriska. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, good morning, dear participants for today's webinar. May peace be unto you. And once again, I would like to cordially welcome to all participants to this online seminar. My name is Ati Sumiati, and I am so honored to be the moderator for today's webinar held by SEAQIL in language. We will conduct the sessions in the forms of panel discussions featuring two prominent resource persons who will later on take us on a journey to achieve better understanding on the theme of developing student success through technology-assisted foreign language learning. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, before we begin with the sessions, allow me to read out the rules and also the regulations of the webinar, in particular for these sessions, for the discussions. The committee, if you have any things for the rules and the regulations shown on the monitor. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to read out the rules and also the regulations. The attendees other than resource persons are muted. For attendees who join the webinars via Zoom, if you have questions for the speakers, please do not forget to type your questions in English and on the Q&A box later on using the formats, name, and the country of your origins, and then to whom the question is being addressed. And don't forget, definitely your questions. And the e-certificate will be delivered for participants who join the webinar via Zoom for at least 75% of the webinar durations. It means like 100 minutes. Fill out the webinar's attendance list and evaluation questionnaire, which will be shared in the chat box during the webinar. Okay, thank you very much for the rules and regulations. So, ladies and gentlemen, the honorable participants, today we are so fortunate to have our distinguished resource persons among us. Our first resource person is Miss Tang Miao Rong, or we can just simply call her Miss Effie Tang. Good morning, Miss Effie. How are you today, Miss Effie?
Morning, everyone. Hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Thank you, Miss Effie. So Miss Effie is currently served as the Director of the Foreign Affairs Office from Sichuan Vocational College of Information Technology. And alongside her duty as the Directors of the Foreign Affairs, she is also a lecturer of higher education's international nationalizations, Chinese cultural teachings, and also English language teaching at the same school. Miss Effie received so many awards and honors for her dedications in language teaching. And she becomes the lifetime member of Asia TEFL. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's sessions of the webinar, Miss Effie will later on deliver her paper with the title of Exploring Foreign Language Teaching Strategies to Foster Students' Success. And for our second resource persons, we have Mr. Patrick Loger. Good morning, Mr. Patrick Loger. Are you here with us?
Good morning, Bu. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thank you very
Sorry.
much. How are you today, Mr. Loger? Or may I call you Patrick?
You can call me Patrick. It's
Okay.
perfect.
Okay, thank you very much. So Patrick is currently served as the director of Altisia in Asia, and previously he had chaired and also owned so many companies focusing on digital solutions. And he taught various IT subjects to foreign and also to European institution students and had participated to tens of projects involving technologies. So many activities, Patrick.
Yeah.
Mr. Patrick will today enlighten us with the issues of maximizing the use of technology to foster the developments of student success in foreign language classroom. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to start the sessions by inviting our first resource person, Miss Effie Tang. Miss Effie, you have approximately 30 minutes to share with us the knowledge of your material. Miss Effie, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, loud
Okay.
and clear.
Sorry for that because my network maybe not.
Miss Effie? Miss Effie, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm
yeah,
here.
yeah, okay. You may go on with the presentations.
I hope everyone can hear me now.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my greatest honor to be here and share my teaching experiences with you. I would like to express my sincere thanks to the organizing team of the webinar. It's your hard work to make the webinar successful. And I also would like to say thanks to all the participants today. It's your presence to make the webinar even more fruitful. I really hope all of us could spend the day joyful and meaningful together. My name is Tang Miaorong, and you can call me Effie. My topic today is exploring foreign language teaching strategies to foster students' success. I will talk about the following three aspects. Brief introduction to the shift from 4 Cs to 6 Cs. One implementation example in the foreign language classroom. And first, let's start with the 4 Cs of the 21st century education, which many teachers must be familiar with already. They are creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration. Creativity helps build confidence and allows students to explore artistic and innovative solutions. An individual must be able to create something new or create something in a new way, utilizing the knowledge they have already acquired. It does not just signify art, but also various solutions to a problem in real life situations. Critical thinking is an analytical process, asking students to question the assumptions given to them and search for answer not immediately apparent. This is a vital skill to emphasize because it promotes deep thinking and learning. It allows students to make sense of the presented content and apply it to their daily lives. Communication is the foundation of building relationships, finding solutions, and working together. It is the skill of presenting information in a clear, concise, and meaningful way. It also requires careful listening and successfully articulating thoughts. Collaboration is critical to working as part of a group and can help facilitate teamwork between students. The outcome of teamwork is greater than an individual effort. Through collaboration, students can learn how to communicate correctly and work with different personalities to find the best outcome. The fostering of these 4 competencies may have been already implemented in your classroom. However, more Cs were introduced by Brian S. Miller and formed the new concept, the 6 C's of education. The new coming 2 C's are character and citizenship. Character, or passion, emphasizes the importance of empathy and compassion towards others, which is an essential skill in a world that is becoming increasingly digital. Rather than being focused on the material education of a student, this point focuses on building strong, empathetic humans that will go through the world caring about what's around them. Connectivity places the individual in touch with their world. Creating character helps students increase their personal effectiveness and become responsible, caring, and contributing citizens. It's the key to improve their emotional intelligence. Citizenship, or culture, helps students understand their surroundings and develop a sense of identity in the global context. Individuals need to be in touch with everything surrounding them, both culture and community, especially a global and cultural context. The citizens encourage the individual to appreciate where we have come from, who we are now, and how we can move into the future through a global and cultural context. Understanding 6 C's is one thing, but implementing them into a curriculum is another thing. And here are some methods you can use to integrate the 6 C's in the foreign language classroom. 1. Integrate unique learning scenarios. Create unique learning scenarios through different mediums such as research projects, collaborative presentation, or debate teams, so the students can learn and utilize knowledge effectively and improve their communication skills, critical thinking, and creativity exercises for solving the problems. 2. Emphasize projects. Utilizing different projects, especially those long-term projects, will allow students to create valuable problem-solving skills in different stages of the projects. It can help students navigate the problem and find valuable solutions through critical thinking and collaboration. 3. Using real-world problems. This technique exposes students to relationships, culture, and dynamic issues they will face later in life. Students are more likely to take ownership over their project, fueling their improvement and learning potentials. 4. Mix things up. As a strong pillar of the 6 C's, collaboration is vital to the classroom, but same groups may reduce the students' communication passion. Therefore, mixing groups is one of the most important pieces of effective collaboration. It ensures a healthy mix of gender, perspectives, learning styles, and communication abilities, and so on. Next, let's look at an implementation example in my institution, Sichuan Vocational College of Information Technology in Sichuan Province of China. The course I teach is Communication in Mandarin, standard Chinese language. It's not only about speaking Chinese language in class, but also applying this language in real communication under the local culture. My students are from different countries after graduating from high school, like from Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and Laos, etc. And in order to improve their self-learning skills, a blended learning method, flipped classroom method is adopted, which means the students need to learn the new lesson, especially the key context online by themselves before class, and will conduct group activities in class for deep learning. Students have opportunities to control their own learning and increase students' responsibility for their own learning. The role of the teacher is shifting from delivering their made knowledge to students to facilitating their learning. Here is the main design for this lesson, Sichuan food, the local food. As you can see in this graph, there are 3 stages in the lesson. Pre-class, students learn the lesson online, and the teacher collect the feedbacks of their learning. In class stage, the students have group discussion and presentation of different tasks while the teacher guides them, review the key contents, and go deeper. Post-class, students finish a practical project and do the sharing. I will explain in detail. Stage 1, pre-class. Students watch the micro lesson video online. It's a 5-minute video I made about Sichuan food, introducing the basic features, like one of the 4 regional cuisines in China, the main flavors of Sichuan food, yuxiang flavor, mala flavor, tangsu flavor, the ingredients used in Sichuan food, like chili, Sichuan pepper, the cooking methods, stir fry, steam, boil, and representative dishes like 回锅肉, mapo tofu, hot pot. Then they finish task 2. Listen to the recording and read keywords by themselves. Task 3, match the dish names with the pictures. Both the tasks are covering the key contents in the video. I can get feedback about their self-learning effects from the online platform and decide what contents should be reviewed in class. What are their weak points? Stage 2, in class. There will be multiple group discussion and presentation. So at the beginning of the class, I will group students in a random way, very different in each class. Sometimes I use puzzle jigsaw games. Sometimes I just use name alphabet. Just want to make sure the students will have a different new group in an unexpected way. The first task is always about consolidating what they have learned in advance, especially those key points and weak points. Here, they find out the representative Sichuan dishes and gave their Chinese names. Then, students will meet more dish names in task 2. I will show them menus from Sichuan food restaurants. They need to order food for their group in Mandarin, in Chinese language. Before they order, they need to discuss about their choices considering the factors like the number of people in their group, the budget they want to spend, and the different eating habits of each member. After their report, we will conclude the features of the students' most popular dishes, what materials they like, what flavors they like, and what cooking method they like. After reviewing the related keywords about Sichuan food features, they do task 3. Create a new dish of Sichuan food. They need to think about how they can integrate their own flavors with traditional Sichuan food features, and also how to utilize the different talents of their group members, like who will draw the pictures, who will write the description in Chinese, who will report in front of the class, etc. After presenting their work, each group will evaluate their group work and at the same time receive the evaluation from other groups and the teacher. There will be a Best Design Award. The last task in class is a case study, which is very common among international students. Your roommate, Zhang Wei, is from Sichuan province of China. You feel recently very annoying because he cooks Sichuan food every day, which makes heavy cooking smell in the room. What should you do? How can you solve this problem? Students coming from different countries live together with different cultural background. The most important thing they must learn is about acculturation and international communication. How they can get better along with each other, especially when they meet differences and conflicts. Only respect and negotiation could do. Stage 3, post-class. Students need to investigate the Sichuan food restaurant in their living communities. Not only they have to report the overview information about the restaurants, like how many restaurants there, what are the restaurant names, what are their locations, what are their specialties, but also they need to give suggestions on developing the local food business with different perspectives, which requires the students to have deep thinking and deep discussion, especially with the local people. It's a good opportunity for them to go deep with the local community. When communicating with local people, they will practice more Mandarin, Chinese language, and understand more culture. Now, let's look back the design and check the following 3 questions. Question number 1. What teaching and learning approaches are adopted in this design? Is there a communicative approach? Yes. The students use Mandarin language to communicate with classmates and teacher in the whole class. Is there a task-based approach? Yes. They have multiple tasks to do in all 3 stages. Is there a cooperative approach? Yes, they have groups. They have group tasks. Is there any other approaches? I think so. Yeah, they listen and repeat the keywords and so on. So multiple approaches are adopted in this class. Question number 2. What competencies have been fostered? How many C's are fostered in this class? Anything about communication? Yes, they have chances to discuss with group member, with teacher, and also outside the classroom. Collaboration? Yes, they have group activities. Creativity? Yes, because they are creating a new dish with Sichuan flavor. Critical thinking? I think yes, because they evaluate their own work and others' work, and they considering people's different need and order food for their group. Character? Yes, they are put into the local community to contribute their ideas as a citizen. They consider others. And citizenship? Yes, my students, international students, I think the environment of themselves are in the global context. All the things they are doing there are in the global context. And question number 3. What jobs have the teacher done? Before class, I design the class activities. I record the video for micro class self-learning. I check the students' learning effects online. During the class, I guide the students in class discussion, evaluate their performances, and after class, I grade their report and so on. Is it easy for the teacher? Definitely not. All the jobs I have done are time-consuming, which become the biggest challenge for me. According to the research from 2 scholars of University Negeri Malang, the challenges for teachers come mainly from the 5 aspects. 1, students' low motivation. 2, the difficulties in integrating some competencies. 3, time management. 4, students' poor vocabulary. And 5, the difficulty in designing lesson plan. And they also collect effective solutions like number 1, use group work. Number 2, providing interesting videos. Number 3, conducting games, make the class interesting. Number 4, use timer to manage time. And 5, looking for reference and sharing with other teachers. I guess the teachers here may have more solutions to contribute. And I have some suggestions. If you are the principals or the administrators, could you please provide your teachers with sufficient support, like building an online learning platform for both teachers and students? It's convenient to learn online and make use of their personal time. Encourage the teaching reform with honor and money. Offer your teachers training opportunities. improve their teaching skills, like come and join our webinar, right? In doing so, I believe your staff will surely get the motivation to work hard and hard. And if you are the teachers, can you become the student you want your students to be? Foster your own 6 competencies in teaching. Let's review the 6 C's together. Creativity, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, character, and citizenship. The future of today's students cannot be predicted. So we have to prepare the children for their future. That's why teachers need to foster new skills in the classroom, the skills of the 6 C's of education. Welcome to the world of 6 C's. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Evie. Wow, that's a really excellent and marvelous presentation, in particular the content, and also those kinds of last questions that you pose at the very end of your presentations. Those questions probably will later work us as the teacher or as the lecturer to kindly foster the 6 C's in our classroom. Thank you very much, Miss Evie. Such a very comprehensive presentations, and most importantly, how you gave us some kind of examples of the implementations of the 6 C's in your classroom at Sichuan Vocational College. Thank you very much, Miss Evie. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to our second resource person, allow me to again remind you, dear participants, to fill in the attendance list, which a link has been shared by the committee. And also don't forget to post your questions in the Q&A box, and we will select only some of the questions that are posted on the Q&A. If the questions are not posted in the Q&A, truly sorry, we are unable to read or select your questions. Thank you. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, dear participant, moving on to our second resource person, Mr. Patrick Loget. Pardon the pronunciations, Patrick.
Yeah,
okay, so
it's Patrick Loget. Yeah, perfect.
Patrick Loget. Oh yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. French
okay,
style.
so in today's sessions of the webinar, again, I would like to highlight Patrick will talk on the technology-assisted classroom management techniques, and also some of the examples of how utilizing those technologies to foster the students' 6 C's in foreign language classroom. And most importantly, some of the issues should be addressed, and also expected challenges and solution regarding the use of technologies in foreign language classroom. So without further ado, Patrick, you have 30 minutes to share the material. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Boo. Dear distinguished guests, it's my utmost pleasure to stand before you today and express my sincere gratitude to SEAQIL for the invitation and your presence here. So without further ado, let's talking about 6 C's and ICTs. So you all know the basic skills to learn languages, right? Listening, speaking, reading, and writing. But to really master a language, you need more than that. You need more skills. So that's why we are talking about the 6 C's today: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, connectivity, creativity, and culture. Today, I will maybe focus a little bit more about culture and communication. So I won't be so structured as the presentation before. The idea of my speech today is to address some specific aspects of the communication and a specific aspect, especially in collaborating with companies. So this is the specific aspect I will talk about today. So collaborating with companies from different continents can be challenging due to difference in culture. This has an impact on three main things: communication, decision-making, and project management. So as you know, most of your students, the people attending this meeting are mostly teachers. They want to work abroad. They want to have collaboration with companies outside in other companies. So these 6 C's influence communication, decision makings, and project management when you collaborate with other companies. For example, in communication, different cultures have unique communication style, which can lead to misinterpretation, misunderstanding. So for example, some cultures are direct and straightforward in their communication, while others prefer indirect communication. The language barriers can also be a challenge in cross-cultural collaboration. I will give you a few examples after that. The challenge in decision-making. Different cultures may have varying approach to decision-making. Some cultures prioritize consensus building and group decision-making, while others value individual decision-making and autonomy. These differences can lead in delay and conflict in decision-making. Another aspect is work styles. Cultural differences can also have impact work styles and expectations. For example, some cultures prioritize work-life balance and may not work long hours, while others may value hard work and long hours. This difference can lead to conflict in work expectation and styles. And lastly, project management. Cross-cultural collaboration can also be challenging in project management. Different cultures may have different approaches to timeline, milestones, or project goals. These differences can impact the success of a project and lead to a conflict. When you introduced me, Boo, you told the audience that I was, in my experience, I created a lot of companies in different countries. So I can share a bit my experience with this. So I'm from Belgium, I speak French. So my culture is more Latin. But we create companies in East European countries and also in Asia. And sometimes we had to do meetings with people working on the same project. And in the meeting, we had people from Eastern Europe, Western Europe, and Asia. And we can feel the strong difference between the attitude and the approach to the work from these different cultures. So this is something I try to teach in my company also, how to address the difference in the approach of work for this different culture. The European people would be more direct. In Asia, we would be less direct and more indirect. So sometimes instructions given by European people can be felt as very aggressive for people living in Asia, for example. So this is the kind of things that we need to share when we establish connection in a company between different culture. I sometimes have to explain before the meeting to the people in Europe what they should do and what they shouldn't do. And I should sometimes do the same with Asian colleagues when we meet all these people. So this is very important. When knowing about the culture is very important. So that's why I insist a lot about culture. So to address these challenges, it's essential to have deep understanding of the cultural differences between collaborating companies. So if your students want to collaborate with foreign companies. We previously talked about food, which is very important, but the way people work is also very important. So teaching the way people work outside in other countries is very important. So building cultural competencies establishing clear communication channels and promoting cultural awareness can help mitigate the impact of cultural difference on cross-cultural collaboration. It's a big challenge when someone works in a foreign country. Beyond knowing the language, it's sometimes quite challenging for someone to understand how people think, because you may speak the same language, but you don't behave the same way. So that's part of the learning process. So with the rise of digital technology and internet, e-learning has become an increasingly popular way to learn and acquire new skills. The use of e-learning in foreign language education has also become more prevalent in recent years. Another example of a cultural challenge in cross-cultural communication is the use of indirect communication. In some culture, such as Japan, indirect communication is valued and expected. It's very important. This means that people may not say exactly what they mean, and it's up to the listener to understand the underlying message. It's quite difficult, actually. However, in other cultures, such as in the United States, direct communication is preferred, and people expect others to say exactly what they mean. That would be the same in my culture also. In France or in Belgium or in Germany, people used to go straight to the point, which is sometimes felt as a bit rude in other countries. So that's why culture is extremely important, and it's important people know about culture before they start having a business relation with other companies. So in this situation, simply speaking the same language is not enough. That's why we are talking about the 6 C's today. Simply speak the language is not enough to ensure effective communication. And this is where the 6 C's come into the picture. So even if two people speak the same language, they may have different expectations and assumptions about communication. So you have extra layers on top of the language itself to make sure your message is going through. So if I take my previous example, if a person from the United States is working with a person with Japan and is not aware of the cultural difference in communication styles, they may misinterpret the Japanese person indirect communication style and assume that they are being unclear or even worse, dishonest. In Anglo-Saxon or Latin culture, if you don't express yourself very clearly, it feels suspicious for us. It seems like you try to hide something. And that's why it may create quite difficult situation if you don't understand this difference in the culture. So for you as teachers, you have to integrate specific cultural aspects of the countries speaking a specific language. If you teach French, you should explain how French are behaving in France. If you teach American English, you would expect to teach your students how Americans behave in life. Again, taking food as an example is a very good example, because usually food is addressing many aspects of the culture. So to effectively communicate in situations like this, both parties need to be aware of the cultural difference in communication styles and adapt their communication accordingly. So if you do business with someone in Japan, or if you do business with someone in the United States, the way you will structure your communication will be completely different, actually, beyond the language itself. I mean, the American person may need to be more patient and listen carefully to the Japanese person in direct communication. So that's something we should teach to the Americans, to be more patient. While the Japanese person may need to be more explicit in their communication to ensure that the American person understands the message. So by building cultural competence and awareness, The two parties can work together effectively and avoid misunderstanding based on cultural differences and in communication styles. So what about these different skills, actually? So critical thinking is the ability to analyze, evaluate, and synthesize information in order to make informed decisions. In language learning, critical thinking is essential for understanding complex language structures and for applying language skills in real-world contexts. In Alticia, we support critical thinking by providing interactive activities that challenge students to analyze and evaluate language structures and to use their language skills to solve problems. Information and communication technology can be a powerful tool for developing critical thinking skills. Here are some strategies for using ICT to promote critical thinking. Encourage research skills. Use ICT tools such as search engines, database, online libraries to encourage your students to research topics and gather information. Teach them how to evaluate reliability and credibility of sources to develop their critical thinking skills. That's one. Another one is use online discussion forums. Create online discussion forums for students to exchange ideas, ask questions, and debate topics. Encourage students to provide evidence and reasoning to support their arguments and challenge them to consider alternative perspectives. Another one is analyze media. Use online media tools such as video, image, and news articles to teach students how to analyze media message critically. Encourage them to consider the purpose of the media, the intended audience, and any bias or assumptions that may be present. Or another one is online simulation. Use ICT tools such as simulation and games to create interactive learning experiences that require critical thinking. These tools can help students develop problem-solving skills and encourage them to think creatively. You also can use online quizzes and assessments. Use these to evaluate students' critical thinking skills. These assessments can help students develop metacognitive skills by reflecting on their own thinking process and identifying area of improvement. About creativity. Creativity involves the ability to generate new and innovative ideas, to think outside the box, and to approach problems from different perspectives. In language learning, creativity is important for developing fluency and for expressing oneself in a nuanced and effective way. Alticia promotes creativity by providing opportunities for students to engage in a creative writing and speaking activities, as well as by encouraging them to explore different cultural contexts and perspectives. In terms of collaboration, collaboration involves working together with others towards a common goal. So that's why indeed you can use all these tools like Microsoft Teams, Google Drive, or all the chat system you have today to create projects with a specific purpose and specific goals. So you have people to collaborate together. Ideally, if these people are from different culture, of course, it will help. Communication is the ability to convey information and ideas effectively through verbal and non-verbal means. So you see, the non-verbal is also something important. It's always related to culture. A French person will not express an idea the same way an American person would do or a Japanese person would do. They will address the problem differently. They will analyze the problem differently. Cultural competencies involve the ability to understand and navigate different cultural contexts and to appreciate and respect cultural differences. That's a very important thing, to respect cultural differences. This is sometimes a challenge I have when I have to deal with different person in different culture. They feel that their culture is very strong, and they tend to not respect the culture and the way the person is expressing him or herself in front of them. So that's something that sometimes need to be taught, unfortunately. Computational thinking involves the ability to solve problems using systematic and logical approach. So about these 6 C's, ICT can play an important role in facilitating the development of all these competencies for students. For example, communication competencies involve the ability to interact effectively with individuals from diverse backgrounds, both orally and in writing. ICT can help students develop communication skills by providing various tools of communication, such as video conferencing, email, social media, or online collaborative platform. Students can use online collaborative platforms such as Google Doc, Microsoft Teams, I told you. In Indonesia, for example, we use a lot WhatsApp and Telegram. We create groups among students to share ideas, and it's very, very successful, especially for the young generation, because they live with a phone in their hands. So you have to reach the students where they are. Communicate with their group members, so to force them to communicate together and share their work in real time. So it's about putting them in situation. Such tools not only allow for easy communication, but also enable students to collaborate more effectively, regardless of their location or time zone. Moreover, ICT can provide students with access to a wide range of resources, include multimedia content and educational apps, which can help them to develop their communication skills. For example, in this specific case, students can use language learning apps such as Alticia to improve their language proficiency, or watch online tutorials to enhance their presentation skills. Additionally, ICT can also provide opportunities for students to engage with individuals from diverse backgrounds, fostering cultural understanding and empathy. For instance, students can participate in online discussions forums, social media groups with individuals from different cultural backgrounds, allowing them to learn about different perspectives and develop their communication skills in a multicultural context. In Alticia, as an e-learning system, develop students 6 C's through technology-assisted foreign language learning is very important. Alticia supports the development of critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication, and cultural competencies, with computational thinking through a range of interactive activities and real-world language contexts. Overall, Alticia represents an innovative and effective approach to language education that leverages the power of technology to help students develop their skills they need to succeed in today's rapidly changing world. So Alticia is an e-learning platform that offers a range of language courses and provides students with opportunities to develop these 6 C's competencies. Here are some examples of activities that Alticia proposed to cover the 6 C's. To collaboration competencies, Alticia provides a collaborative platform called SEAQIL. So we have a social network where students can interact with their peers and teachers, exchange ideas, and work together on groups and projects. The platforms allow students to communicate in real time, share documents, and collaborate on projects. About critical thinking competency, Alticia courses include activities that encourage students to think critically and analyze information. For example, students can watch video, read articles, and participate in debates and discussions that requires them to evaluate arguments and ideas. Regarding creativity, Alticia courses provide students with opportunities to express their creativity, such as writing short stories, composing emails, or recording podcasts. The platform also includes games and interactive exercise that stimulate creative thinking. For citizenship, Alticia course encourage students to think globally and develop a sense of social responsibility. The platform includes modules that focus on cultural awareness, social issues, and global challenges. Regarding character, Alticia course include modules that promote self-regulation, perseverance, and learning to learn. For example, students can access modules that focus on time management, goal settings, and study skills. So this will conclude my presentation about the different 6 Cs and the use of ICT in this specific learning aspect. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Patrick, for the sharing of knowledge by elaborating in a more detail each competence of the 6 Cs in education and how each of those competences are related to the use of ICT. And Patrick also mentioned that we also need to possess cultural awareness in order to avoid the occurrence of conflicts due to miscommunications between cultures. Simply speaking, Patrick again highlighting the issues that mastering the language is not enough. You need to also understand the culture. So in this case, the mastery of 6 Cs and ICT is really crucial. Thank you very much, Patrick. So, dear participant, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Again, I would like to dedicate to both of the resource persons for a very engaging presentations, which I am sure that we will have so many questions given by the participant. Okay, so we will move on to the Q&A sessions, and the committee will show the selected questions on the screen. Let me read the questions, and later on, I would like to invite the resource persons to kindly answer them. Okay, so the questions are, okay, so this is the first question. The question is coming from Bapak Rahim from Malaysia to Miss Evie. The question is, The question is, how often do you introduce language learning scenarios as you mentioned in your classroom? So Miss Evie, would you please kindly directly answer the questions?
Okay, as I just said, my course is communication in Mandarin, in Chinese language. Actually, the whole course will be conducted in the real world communication scenarios. So for each lesson, for each topic, I will use the real world scenarios. And of course, it's quite different. For example, just now I shared something about the local food, Sichuan food, and later I will have different scenarios like going to take the bus or some other scenarios. So actually the whole lesson, the whole course.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miss Evie. So that will be the answer for the previous questions. Let's move on to the next questions, perhaps. Okay, so the next question comes from Faiza from Brunei Darussalam. And again, this question goes to Miss Evie. The question is, how many time it took to cover all the tasks? Is it done in a day? Miss Evie?
Yeah, yes, I just saw this question in the chat box. Actually, this cannot be finished within one day.
Yeah.
I have 2 times a week for my course. That means on Tuesday, I will have the first class, and then next will be on Friday. So between the 2 classes, the students have some time to do the investigation in their communities. If I have this course every day, if I have this every day, I think the students will be very, very tired about finishing the task that I have given to them.
Yeah, thank you very much. Miss Evie, probably can you be more specific, like within one session, one course, how many minutes that it takes?
In China, each time we have 1 hour class.
1 hour
That
class.
means 2 classes together a day.
I see. Okay. Thank you very much, Miss Evie. Okay. Moving on to our third questions. Committee, would you please? Okay. So this question's from Syafarudin Marpau from Indonesia, from SMA Negeri 2, Kota Tanjung Balai. And again, the question goes to Miss Evie. He has 2 questions. The first question is, how can foreign language teachers address cultural sensitivity and inclusions in their teachings to promote characters and citizenship in their students? Second question is, can you discuss any potential cultural or societal barriers that foreign language teachers may encounter when teaching the 6 Cs? Wow, 2 questions. Miss Evie?
Yeah. Actually, the 2 questions are connected, so I will answer them at the same time.
Yeah, okay.
In a world related to other places, I think the most important thing is to open up our eyes to know more about different culture, about different things happening around us. But what is difficult is that if you live in a very, very how to say, a very quiet place that will be very rural, far from other people or other places, and you don't have any access to get knowledge from other world, then it will be the biggest challenge for you, because even you, the teacher, don't know what the outside world is. So how can you tell the students what is the difference of different cultures? So I think the most important thing for the teacher and also for the students are they need some way to open up their eyes to see the world. If you don't travel to other places, it's fine, because nobody can travel around the world up to now. Not many people can do this, but you can utilize different technologies, especially in those rural areas. I really hope if you can have some online technologies that will assist your teaching more effectively, and also you can have more methods to foster the students' success.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Is that also answering the second question?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. So again, highlighting the issues of creativity, in particular for those teachers who have very limited access to educations. Do not stop your creativity, because by the using of the technology, everything is possible. So probably that will also relate to Patrick mentions that as a teacher, we need to also think out of the box. Okay, thank you very much, Miss Evie. Okay, moving on to our next questions. Okay, so our next question from Bapak Muhdi. It's really sorry, it's just too small. Muhdriyal Haq from Indonesia. And the question goes to Miss Evie again. And how can a teacher manage their lesson time effectively, given the numerous tasks from the beginning up to the discussion sections? And what is the method for evaluating the assigned task? Okay, Miss Evie?
Okay, as I just mentioned, the time managing is a very big challenge for the teachers. If you're going to conduct multiple tasks in your class, I think the time management skill is very important. So in my class, I will give students exact time limit for each task. And after that, I will also design the tasks in different level of difficulties. For example, I will start from those easier ones like simple answers task, and then to the end, it will be a comprehensive task or requires more creativity or discussion. So time controlling, yes, you can have some method to control your time, like use the timer or some.
Yeah. And then the next question is, how should we evaluate or assess
I think the assessment should be from different perspective. That's why I use the student self-evaluation and the peer evaluation, and also from the teacher. From the teacher, you can from very professional point of view, like your vocabulary, your pronunciation, your dialogues, or something like that. And also from the students, they may have different perspectives, like their feelings or like their observations in different ways. You need to combine the different perspectives to assess the students' group work effect.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Evie. Again and again, highlighting the importance of creativity, in particular also in assessing and evaluating the students' task. Okay, thank you very much, Miss Evie. Okay, next questions coming up from Bapak Syafarudin Marpaung from SMA Negeri 2 Kota Tanjung Balai, Indonesia. And the question goes to Bapak Patrick. The question is, how can foreign language teachers address potential concern regarding the over-reliance on technology in language learning and its impact on students' development of the 6 Cs? So we have 2 questions in here. Bapak Patrick?
Yeah, to answer this question, I think everything is a matter of balance, of course. Technology does not solve everything.
Yeah.
So when you design a class, of course, being dependent on technology only, it may be something difficult for you, because of course we know technically you can have problems, but the idea is to have a balance between technology and I would say classic way of teaching. So to find the right balance is something really important. When we implement project, Alticia project in universities, for example, we try to find the right balance between the use of the platform and project management, what we call project management. So we try to help the teachers, the students, to use the technology the right way. So not to rely too much on technology, but also to create activities that do not depend on technology. So the balance is something it's a key element of your class, actually, to find the right balance, depending on the audience you have, depending on all the local challenges you can have.
Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick. So again and again, highlighting the importance of going hand in hand between the technologies and also the competence. Okay, so we go to the next questions, perhaps. Wow, very long question, Patrick, and it goes to you, Patrick. From Bapak or Ibu, pardon, Yarneli from Indonesia. How to motivate students in learning or using English when they use their mother tongue in daily communications? They rarely use Indonesian language in class, while I myself cannot speak Batak language, and they only hear English in class since we are far from tourist spots, so they never meet native speaker. So the conclusion is how to motivate the students in using English in their classroom, where they mostly use their native or mother tongue. Patrick?
Yeah, it sounds difficult, because it seems like the teacher and the students have there's a language barrier between the teacher and the students, which is must be difficult for the teacher. So so I don't know. So maybe the idea would be to set up specific activities, non-verbal activities also. You can associate image with sounds and try to progressively introduce the language by designing simpler activities, or maybe by inviting someone who can maybe speak both Batak and English, and try to organize something. Of course, you need to communicate to teach something, so that's a challenging situation indeed.
Yeah, indeed, a very challenging one, because both the teachers and the students are not speaking of the same language. So making this become the most barrier in the communications. Okay,
correct.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, do we still have more questions for the resource person? Yeah. So the next questions to Bapak Patrick from Ovia Nisa from SDN Hegar Manah Jatinangor, Sumedang, West Java, Indonesia. Her question is, Is hybrid learning will still suitable for the current situations where the pandemic is over? Will there be any boredom for students after studying at home for so long? So 2 questions, Patrick, please.
I think more than ever, because since after the end of the pandemic, and I see it in Indonesia quite a lot, many universities, for example, implemented Moodle or e-learning systems, and it created an opportunity actually, because what we call blended learning is something that is very how can I say, trendy for the moment. So the idea of promoting e-learning is also to make the teaching more efficient. So I always say that e-learning will never replace teachers, but the e-learning is a tool for you to teach faster or to be more effective in your teaching. So the implementation of e-learning is not a black and white situation. It's always a matter of balance between the use of the technology and to use it to improve the teaching. I always take the same example. As a teacher, for example, when you enter a class, you may have maybe 30 or sometimes 40 students in front of you. But when you start teaching these students, you have to make a decision. And because the speed or the difficulty you will adopt for your teaching, you know you will lose part of your class. If some students are very beginners, and if you teach too fast, you will lose the beginners. If you teach too slow, or if you are the teaching is too easy, you may lose the advanced students. So blended learning and e-learning can solve that problem. For example, you can take a decision to teach for the average level of your class and give assignments to the extremes of your class, to the beginners and the very advanced students, for example. So you make sure you don't lose part of your class when you're teaching. So it's about include more people into the teaching. So that's one thing that e-learning can do, is to be more inclusive for your students.
Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick. So do you have any suggestion probably whether the hybrid is still a better choice for us in today's education?
I would say it's more than ever. I would say that's something that is very successful everywhere in the world, especially in Indonesia also. All the e-learning systems are still used by the university to provide material to the students. So a hybrid learning is something that will grow in the future.
I see. Okay, thank you, Patrick. And referring to the last questions, how do we cope with the students' boredom in hybrid learning?
By designing motivation strategy. That's something we do with universities also. So every motivation strategy is different because every university is different.
Yeah.
So we sometimes organize contests, for example. So we encourage the students to work at home, to prepare the lessons. So it's about incentive, about motivation. So you have to make sure the students are convinced that the learning a language is something important for them, and they will be motivated. So motivation strategy is something we implement with universities, and it's a real subject.
Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick. Agree with your answer. Thank you very much. Okay, so do we still have any more questions in our Q&A? Okay, this question's from Bapak Amin Wibowo from SMPN 42 Indonesia, and the question goes to Miss Evie and also both to Bapak Patrick. The question is, why are the 6 C's very important in learning? That's the first question. Do we using the design in sequences or randomly in learning? So 2 questions. Who will go first, Miss Evie or Bapak Patrick?
Ladies first.
Oh, ladies first. Miss Evie.
Okay. I think education is to prepare our students for the future. And since the future's requirements for talents are the students who have 6 competencies, then why not we foster the students' 6 competencies? And using what kind of sequence? Actually, I don't have any exact detail guidance to the teacher. I think it will all depending on the course, the topic, the exact task you are going to design there. Then you can meet to see which competencies will be the match with this task.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Miss Evie. Bapak Patrick?
Yeah, can you show me the question again? Sorry.
Okay, committee. Why are the 6 Cs are very important, and what kind of a sequence or randomly in learning?
Well, the first thing that come in my mind is to avoid misunderstanding and difficult situation. Again, as I said in my presentation, the fact that you speak a language is not enough to work in a country, for example. If you don't know the culture and the way people behave, it's maybe very. I mean, you need to have a way to learn this kind of thing. So you need to know that learning a language is more than learning a language. If you understand that, I mean, you will be more flexible and more open-minded when you collaborate with foreigners, for example. So you have to take this parameter into account when you have interaction with foreigner people. If you focus on language only, you may miss something quite important, actually.
Thank you very much, Patrick, for the answer. Hopefully that will answer the previous questions. Okay, so committee, we still have time to do the Q&As. Do we still have any more questions from the audience, from the participants? Yeah, okay, so this question's from, truly sorry, Bapak or Ibu Anis from Indonesia. And the question goes to both of the resource person, Miss Evie and also Bapak Patrick. How to encourage students to think critically if they have a low motivations in class and traditional culture usually thoughts in family that they are, willingly or not, accept everything they are given. Again, how to encourage them to think critically. Miss Evie? Ladies first, or Bapak Patrick?
No, ladies first.
Ladies first again. Miss Evie.
Okay. I think in a very traditional family with the education of being obedient with the parents doesn't mean that the students themselves don't have their personal ideas. And critical thinking not only related to the global context only, but also when in a family, if a person could have critical thinking, that will make things more reasonable, and he will understand how to deal with the family affairs. I don't think this will be a barrier for our education.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Evie, for the answer. So, not everybody in the low motivational family has also a low thinking critically. Okay, so Bapak Patrick.
Yeah, well, it reflects what I said about the motivation strategy. It's one of the aspects of cultural barrier that can slow the process. Of course, to try to engage the students and to include the students in the teaching is very important, and not always easy, of course.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. So, most importantly, in the traditional family, where as Miss Evie said that probably the obedience to the parent is still really pertinent. That it is not necessarily that the children's or students, they don't have any critical thinking. Okay, so committee, do we still have any more questions? Because we still have 15 more minutes for the Q&A. Okay, so we do have the questions here. From, pardon the pronunciation, from Sao Li Wei from Malaysia. This question goes to Miss Evie. Can you please suggest to me how am I going to work on the citizenship part when all students of mine are from the same country? Should I plan activities based on the different races? Miss Evie?
Okay. Malaysia is a very big country. Actually, I'm now in Malaysia. I think this is a very international country with so many foreigners and so many people of different cultural background. So not When the students are coming from the same country, actually they do have different dialects. They have different education background of their family, and also maybe they have different eating habits. Like you like spicy one, I don't like that. So the culture differences that doesn't only exist in different countries, but also in different areas. So I think the teacher can start with the differences between different areas, then they can apply it in other countries also.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miss Evie, for the answer. Okay, so hopefully that will answer the previous questions in asking how to manage the citizenship if the classroom is based on only from one nationality. Okay, moving on to our next question. We still have 15 more minutes. Miss Evie, Bapak Patrick, hopefully you're still there because we have plenty of time and plenty of questions. Okay, so this one goes to Bapak Patrick from Ibu Martini from Indonesia. ICT gives a lot of beneficial impacts for our students. It gives negative one also, like ChatGPT, Google Translate, and others. They like getting the shortcuts to get the answer of task or test. Don't appreciate the process. What is the tip to avoid these negative impacts of ICT? Patrick?
Yeah, it's funny you talk about ChatGPT because we use it a lot more and more. The thing is, if you fight against the technology, it will be more difficult. So you have to embrace this technology to make sure the students use it the right way. It's a challenge that, and it's a debate we have in many countries. I read the French news, and the teachers in France, they feel the same because more and more students, they take the question, they put it in ChatGPT, and they copy paste and they send to the teacher without even reading the answer.
Yeah.
So that's something we need to address. If you forbid the use of ChatGPT, of Google Translate, for example, it will be more difficult. So the idea they have in France, especially, is to try to find a new methodology, including these new technologies, to force the students to pass by a analysis process, for example. So before, they may have to explain the answer in front of the class, for example. So if they do that, they have to understand what they wrote or what ChatGPT wrote. Yeah. So it's about putting the students in situation where the tool they use is not enough. And so you have to ask a little bit more. So they have to reconsider the answer or why they use such a tool.
Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick. Okay, so that's a very comprehensive answer. So do not avoid technology. That's the highlights. Do not avoid technology. Do not resent it, but embrace it. That's what I like, Patrick. Embrace it, but then again, we need to filter it and make the students aware that they're using the positive side of the technology. Patrick, thank you very much. Okay, do we still have more questions? Okay, from Bapak Rudi Umardani from Indonesia. This is for Bapak Patrick. The most challenging for me deals with dishonesty in ICT employment. How to cope with this case, especially in teaching large class and most of the skilled students in ICT. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's related to the same question before about dishonesty, about copy paste an answer. I think the way teachers are challenging the students should not try to avoid these tools, but to try to put them in a situation where they have to analyze the answer they provide to the teacher. And that's sometimes challenging, and it's not always easy, but I think that's the way we can do it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick, for the answer. Okay, more questions. Patrick, are you still with us there?
I'm still there.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So, more questions from? Yeah, this is from Bapak Haryanto from SMA 1 Tarakan, Indonesia. And the question goes to Miss Evie and also Bapak Patrick. The question is maybe out of the topic, but I really need to know your opinion on adding a subject of CCU or cross-cultural understanding into the curriculum? Would that be effective to make students know more about foreign language, in particular English? How to incorporate the CCU course in our curriculum? Miss Evie?
I think languages and cultures are combined together. We can all learn language, but not considering their cultural background. But accepting or not, you can decide. So improve the students' cross-cultural understanding ability is very essential in the course. I think this should be included in the curriculum. And if the school has enough, has a sufficient teacher, then they can open the special course for cross-cultural understanding.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miss Evie. Bapak Patrick.
Yeah, I really agree about what have been said. I would add that it depends on the objective of the teacher and why you teach a certain language. If you make in Alticia, for example, we make a distinction between American English and UK English, so British English.
Yeah.
So if your students have as a target to study in America, for example, it would be of course, very important for them to know how Americans behave and what are their culture, to make sure they have both the language and the culture aspect of the country they are targeting for studying.
Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick. So both a resource person also agrees on the ideas of putting the CCU or cross-cultural understanding in the curriculum. Probably this should go hand in hand again with the teachings of the language itself in the classroom. Okay, thank you very much, both resource persons. Do we still have more questions? Okay, so from Ibu Yulia Watimadu from Indonesia, the questions for Bapak Patrick. In building communications in class, which does not consist of various nationalities, various learners from many tribes along Indonesia archipelago, can we implement cultural adaptations? Pak Patrick?
Yeah, I'm not sure about understanding the question.
Okay, would you please show it again, committee?
Yeah. Is it about culture of Indonesia or culture
Yeah.
of...
How should we implement Indonesians people? How should we implement the cultural adaptations in our classroom if in one classroom it consists of the various nationalities? Probably not only in Indonesia, but in, say, for example, like if it's in one class and it consists of various nationalities, how should we implement the cultural adaptations?
But maybe by using it and integrate it in the teaching, you know, when you have different nationalities or different culture in the class, that's a value, that's an asset you have, and you can use to implement or to create example or to use example and create a subject out of it. So it's a question of adaptation. So I think the question is about how to adapt to different situations. When you teach, of course, the audience you have in front of you will be different every session, every year. So one job of the teacher is to find a subject that will fit the audience he has in front of him. So that's a very interesting question. Yeah.
Yeah, so again, we need to implement the cultural adaptations, in most particularly in our classroom, which varies. Probably in one classroom, it consists of the various nationality,
Correct.
races, etc. Thank you very much, Patrick. Okay, any more questions? Okay, still questions. Okay, so this from Susi May Fabular from the Philippines. The question for Ibu or Miss Evie. Can we adapt your strategy here in the Philippines, making it in action research for our senior high students? She asked your permissions, Miss Evie. And do we need to assess students before doing this strategy and make a differentiated teaching strategy? 3 questions in 1 sentence. Miss Evie?
Yes, of course. It's not about permission, but I share today with all the teachers is a kind of exchange. So if you are interested in implementing this kind of teaching in your area, you are most welcome. Then maybe in the future we can communicate more about how to develop and improve this kind of design.
Okay, so your material is also applicable in the Philippines, right? So you are giving your permission to the teacher. Okay, thank you very much, Miss Evie. Okay, do we have any more questions? Yeah, this is from Ibu Sri Wahyu Ningsi from IAIN Kudus, Indonesia. Again, the question goes to Miss Evie. How do you provide feedback on students' tasks during the teaching and the learning process? I think this has been answered.
Yes, for different tasks, I may give different feedbacks. Like those simple answered tasks, then I will tell them what is correct or what is proper way. And if it is after class task, then I will grade their task and I will evaluate them online because they are submitting the task online. And in the next class, we will have a discussion, more discussion about their tasks.
Okay, so those are the feedbacks given by Miss Evie in her classroom in the implementations of, in particular, of the 6Cs. Thank you, Miss Evie. Okay, committee, do we still have more questions? Okay, from Sao Li Wei from Malaysia, pardon the pronunciations. This question goes to Bapak Patrick. We used to have the impressions that Asians are more indirect when communicating their ideas in English. So instead of culture, do you see that it's mainly due to the language barrier, English as a second language, in which it actually takes effort in structuring the sentence? Okay.
No, I think I will give you a very precise example. We have in our company Belgian teams collaborating with Indonesian teams. In Belgium, sometimes when they want to chat with Indonesian colleague, they used to say hello, exclamation points.
Oh, okay.
See? But when the Indonesian person reads hello, for us it's hello, how are you? But for the Indonesian persons, it's hello, what are you doing? You don't answer fast enough. So the simple use of exclamation point is already a huge cultural differences between Europe and Indonesia. In Europe, it's a nice way to say hello. I'm super motivated. I would like to greet you in a positive way. But it's felt very negatively in Indonesia because it looks like an order, like hello, you don't answer me. So you have a complete gap between just one word and one exclamation point. So no, it's really important to understand these kind of things and with very, very simple ideas and very you don't need a complex sentence to express a cultural difference. In just one word and exclamation point, you already have a very large subject to it. You can talk an hour about it.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. So Patrick highlights the importance of not only the language or the structurings of the sentences that hinders the speakers to speak English or sharing the ideas or expressing ideas, but also the use of symbols. That symbol is also very great tools in communications. Thank you very much, Patrick. That's a really interesting example. Exclamation mark. That's a different meaning from each of the culture. Thank you. Okay, so committee. Okay, so this questions from Bapak Rahim from Malaysia, and it goes to Bapak Patrick.
But the answer is very simple. You can use Alticia. It's
okay. Okay.
So that's actually one of our mission is to make sure both the students and the teacher understand about the subject, what is taught. A lesson can be a very specific aspect of a culture of a language. So it's both explained to the teachers and the students. So this it shouldn't be an issue, at least if you use Anticyria.
Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, dear participants and also the audience, respected resource persons, thank you very much for the sharing knowledge and also the sharing of information in terms of the 6Cs. It's been such a great pleasure for me to moderating and the whole sessions. And unfortunately, we have come to the very end of our sessions of the discussions. But before ending it, allow me to briefly highlight again some of the materials from the presentations. Miss Evie, thank you very much for your times and also for the presentations. Miss Evie, shared with us on the shiftings of paradigms from 4Cs to 6Cs in foreign language teachings and the learning context by adding 2 competencies that are characters or compassions and also citizenships or cultures. And also Ms. Evie highlighted some examples of language teaching strategies and the implementations in Ms. Evie's class in enhancing student 6Cs through integrate unique learning scenarios, emphasis project, using real-world problems, and mix things up. And last but not least, Ms. Evie also presented to us the expected challenges and solution in developing 6Cs in foreign language classroom. To sum up, in nowadays world of education, the role of the teacher is shifted from delivering materials knowledge to students into facilitating students in their process of learning. Okay, so that's from Miss Evie, and from Patrick. Bapak Patrick has given us, highlighting us, enlightened us with so many ideas how to implement the ICTs in the 6Cs. And also, Mr. Patrick posed several challenges due to the rapid developments of technologies and culture, among other, communication, decision-making, work styles, and project management. Therefore, it is essential to have a deep understanding of the cultural differences by building cultural competence, establishing a clear communication channels, and promoting cultural awareness. Those can help to mitigate the impacts of cultural differences on cross-cultural collaborations. And Mr. Patrick also talked on some of the examples of utilizing technologies to foster students' 6Cs in the foreign language classroom. And essentially, it is pertinent for us to foster the mastery of 6Cs of education to our students. Okay, so those are the conclusions of our today's talk. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the deepest gratitude to both of the resource person, Miss Evie, thank you very much. Bapak Patrick, thank you very much for your times and also for all of the contributions. Thank you very much to both of the resource persons. Truly sorry for any inconveniences during me moderating the whole sessions. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, may I thank you once again for your active participations throughout this webinar. And I really do hope that you enjoy the programs and probably gain new knowledge in the ideas of how implementing the 6Cs in your classroom. And thank you very much. That's all from me. I will give the floor back to our Master of Ceremony. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miss Ati. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give a big round of virtual applause for our keynote speaker for the insightful and inspirative materials. Not to forget to our lovely moderator as well, who has chaired the fruitful and engaging session. Before we move to the next agenda, I would like to invite our keynote speakers and moderator to do a group photo. To Ibu Ati Sumiati, Ms. Tang Miaoro, and Mr. Patrick Loge, kindly open your camera and put on your best smile for this group photo session. Please be ready. On my count, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have come to the end of the main session of the webinar, Developing Student 6Cs through Technology-Assisted Foreign Language Learning. May we invite the Acting Director of Simeo Kitab in Language, Ardian Diaan Muniro PhD, to deliver remarks and officially close the webinar. To Ibu Dian, time is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Yuriska. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished guests, speakers, SEAQIL staff, and participants of this webinar, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's my honor and pleasure to once more give remarks to the webinar on developing student success through technology-assisted foreign language learning. As we come to the end of this event, let us take a moment to thank God for the blessings we have received and for the opportunities to learn and grow that have been presented to us. I want to thank everyone for joining us today for this webinar. I hope you have found the presentations and discussions insightful and informative. As we have seen, technology-assisted foreign language learning can be a powerful tool for developing student success, the critical thinking, communication, collaboration, creativity, character, and citizenship. By leveraging technology, we can create engaging and interactive learning experiences that allow students to develop these essential skills while also building their language proficiency. I encourage all of you to continue exploring the possibilities of technology-assisted language learning and to keep experimenting with innovative approaches in your classrooms. Let's work together to create a future where all students have access to high-quality language education that not only teaches them the language, but also develops their success. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned in the opening speech, this webinar marks the start of the online training on language competence improvement. So in this opportunity, I want to congratulate each and every one of you, the 400 selected participants of the online training, for taking the initiative to invest in your professional development. Your commitment to continuous learning and to enhance your language competence is truly commendable. We are delighted to have you with us today as we embark on a journey to enhance your language competence. I wish you a fruitful and enjoyable 3-month training experience. Finally, I would like to thank our distinguished speakers for sharing their expertise and insights with us today. I would also like to thank all members of the organizing committees, Mbak Ardel and her team, for their efforts in making this webinar successful. Thank you once again for your participation, and we hope to see you at our future events. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Ibu. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the committee, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you for joining us today in the webinar. We appreciate your participation and apologize for any inconvenience you may have experienced during the pre and current event. I would like to inform you that the technical coordination of the online training on language competence improvement will commence shortly. Please note that this session is exclusive to the selected participants of the training. Therefore, with all due respect, we kindly request all distinguished guests, webinar participants who are not part of this training to kindly leave. But before leaving, we kindly remind those who have not submitted the attendance list to fill in the form using the link provided in the chat box. We also request you to complete the webinar evaluation questionnaire by tomorrow at 12 p.m. Jakarta time. Your feedback is valuable to us and will help us to plan future webinars. Additionally, please note that filling in the questionnaire is a requirement to receive the e-certificate for Zoom participants. Thank you for your cooperation and see you on the next event of SEAQIL, Kitab, and Language.